Welcome to the first ever actual, video that's not one specific topic on this channel, where we're going to talk about all the NHL news and then go through 10 superstar NBA-like trades, and I already got scored on. To be Sidney Crosby traded, Alex Ovechkin traded, Nathan MacKinnon, and Connor McDavid traded in this video, so stay tuned till the end to see all the trades. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the new channel. Obviously, go check out the main. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, so the first bit of news we have to talk about. I am a Jets fan, for those of you who have not seen my first channel or my main channel. And we have some breaking news. The biggest free agent signing in Winnipeg Jets history is Jonathan Toews, the hometown kid, coming back to Winnipeg to try and help the Winnipeg Jets win a Stanley Cup. What do I think? Well, honestly, I am very excited. Jonathan Toews is a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. He is the best player to ever come from Winnipeg. He is the best player to ever play, he's the best player to ever play for the St. Vital Warriors, I think, or whatever he played for. Jonathan Toews arena, that arena is sick. The dressing rooms are so much better than any other arena, just speaking from experience. And man, I am excited. Now, is it an overpay? Maybe. Who are we going to pay? Nobody else. So, I actually think it's a very good move for us. If Jonathan Toews works out, this could be the best player to ever play for our franchise, in terms of a career. Not right now, obviously. Kyle Connor is obviously going to be better than Jonathan Toews, but if Jonathan Toews is even like 50% of his prime, he's going to be better than a lot of our depth players, and I'm ecstatic, bro. This is about to be lit. The jersey sales are about to be through the roof. The amount of Chicago Blackhawks fans in Winnipeg because of Jonathan Toews, and I mean obviously Kane and Keith and stuff, but because of Jonathan Toews, is absolutely ridiculous. So this is going to be lit. It is going to be an absolute amazing time. So hopefully, Jets fans, we are ready for the return of Jonathan Toews. Where will he slot in? I have no clue. I'm going to predict that he is our 4th line center, for the majority of the year. I don't want to keep expectations too high, but best case scenario, he becomes our 2nd line center that everybody says we need for the past 20,000 years. And I mean, I am excited. Signing rating and most fans will rate it like a C or like a B. This is an A+ as a Jets fan, bro. This is the biggest free agent signing we have ever made. The hometown boy, a lot of people here's favorite player. The jersey sales, the ticket sales. Jonathan Toews' first game back is going to be absolutely electric. There is going to be so many people in that building, even on the streets, just at bars and restaurants. Business that day is going to be at an all-time high for the city of Winnipeg. And even though the tragic fall off the city has taken in the past 10 years, I mean, this is going to be absolutely electric. Before we get into the absolutely ridiculous 10 trades, we got to talk about something. We got to talk about our boy right here. Nah, are we actually serious right now? Anyways, we gotta talk about our couple of trades that happened in real life. So first up, we are playing with the Seattle Kraken. We're down 3-0. I don't think that'll happen to Seattle this year because they just picked up a guy in Mason Marchment for the low. Now, Jim Nill trades Mason Marchment and to the Seattle Kraken for a 4th and a 3rd. From both teams' perspective, from Seattle, this is an A+. A guy like Mason Marchment on a cheap $4.5 million deal. And, I mean, you only gave up a 4th and a 3rd who are probably not going to turn into the player that Mason Marchment is. For the Dallas Stars, I mean, this is like a B. I mean, Mason Marchment, realistically, you could get like a 2nd round pick, but you were dumping off his cap, so you obviously had to get less. Third and a fourth isn't awful. You know, maybe it's less than a B. I'd say like a solid C plus. You know, they got 4.5 million cap. They also signed Duchesne to that exact deal, which is, you know, a crazy steal. People are really underrating that one for at least the first 2 years of that contract. But I don't. I mean, Mason Marchment, is he going to make Seattle a playoff team? I don't think so. But there's a big chance. They made the playoffs a couple of years ago. They made the conference finals. Now, was it Mickey Mouse? Maybe. But, I mean, who's to say that it can't happen again when you have a guy like Shane Wright, who was labeled as a generational talent, or not a generational talent, but like an exceptional status player. When you have a guy like, I mean, Matty Beniers, second overall pick, right? I mean, there's a high chance that this team can do great. I mean, I think it's a great trade for them. Next up, we have Eric Howla getting traded to the Nashville Predators for a 4th-round pick and a prospect, Jeremy Hansel. I think that's how you. I mean, I don't know how else it would be pronounced, but man, I mean, from New Jersey's perspective, solid B. Again, another cap dump. You know, Eric Howla, maybe not worth his cap. Getting rid of that cap. You know, maybe they'll get rid of another defenseman and clear up some more money, but I think New Jersey made out pretty well. I'm going to give them a B because, like, it's a cap dump. How high of a thing can you get at the same time? I mean, they did get a 4th-round pick for Eric Howla for the Nashville Predators. I'd say it's a solid, you know, like a solid C plus. Eric Howla, decent NHLer. Cap hits a bit, you know, too much for my liking, although the cap's going up. So a guy like Eric Howla, definitely worth like around that money. It's not like an egregious overpay. Taking a chance on a guy who could be worth more. I mean, if Nashville's going towards this kind of like, this year was a fluke, next year the shooting percentage is going to go up, you know, the goals are going to go in, the saves are going to be made by Saros, then I really like this trade for them. If they're going in a rebuild direction, I mean, you literally gave up a 4th-round pick, which is kind of overrated by fans. Like, I think a 4th-round pick, like, honestly, there's like a 0.5% chance that the 4th overall pick is a better player than Eric Howla. At the same time, take on a lot of money. I mean, it's all right for Nashville. And then the last trade we have to talk about, again, involves the Seattle Kraken, and it is Andrei Burakovsky for Joe Veleno. Now, so let's start with Chicago. I think this is like a solid, you know, D plus, maybe C minus. Like, you're taking on a guy with like 5-something mil. I honestly don't know if there was retained salary. The reports weren't very clear from what I got. But maybe if there was retained salary, then it's a higher grade. But for right now, from what I know, taking on a full 5 mil for Joe Veleno. I mean, Joe Veleno, you know, hasn't really done much. But again, the Seattle Kraken find a way to get these exceptional status players. And, I mean, they are cooking right now. Joe Veleno, you know, you get Mason Marchment, these, like, players who cater towards their style, you know, cater towards the playoffs, even though that's such an overrated term. Like, I mean, fans are literally saying Sam Bennett's better than Connor McDavid. Like, what are we doing here, guys? But I mean, I like it for Seattle. I'd give it like a solid, you know, Joe Veleno. I mean, he's not like young anymore, but he's younger than Burakovsky. I mean, Chicago, I guess Burakovsky's the better player right now. I don't love the cap hit they are taking on. They do have the cap space. I think they have 22 mil still, but, you know, I'd rather them have spent that 5 mil somewhere else, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. I like it for Seattle a lot more than I do Chicago. And then the last thing we have to talk about, the cheating Florida Panthers want to stay together. That sucks for the entire league, and you already know one of them is going to go on LTIR and add another player in the next offseason. We already know how it works here in the NHL. It is in favor of these teams. You know, the Florida teams, they always get it rigged for them. Vegas as well, obviously. And I don't know what to do, man. I really, really don't know what to do. The Florida Panthers trying to stay together, gonna add at the trade deadline. It's a rough time for the NHL, but unfortunately, this is what we're gonna have to live through until Gary Bettman retires, and we're just gonna have to, accept it and embrace that it's rigged for the Florida Panthers, unfortunately. And I mean, they have 19 million cap. They have 3 players to sign. That is an average of 6.33 million, if my math is correct off the top of my head. And I mean, somebody's gonna have to take a discount. I heard Bennett could get like 9 or 10, which is ridiculous. Marchand could get 8. Ekblad could probably get 7, so that's a solid, 24 mil. So I mean, it definitely could happen, especially with the no state tax and everything. But I don't know, like, these players would have to sacrifice a lot, and I mean, I guess if you're winning, I guess if it's rigged for you, why the fuck would you leave? But yeah, I don't know, that sucks for the entire NHL. The Florida Panthers are going to be staying together. Okay, let's get into the main part of this video. The part you guys came here to see, all of these trades, and let's start it off. I mean, first of all, let's say for reference, these trades were made, back at the trade deadline after the Mikko Rantanen whole thing. And I don't know, if these trades are realistic or not, but I highly doubt they will happen. But then again, Mikko Rantanen got traded. So really anything is on the table. So I mean, it definitely could happen for sure. Now, this first one is absolutely ridiculous, but we have Sidney Crosby. Now, this was when Sidney Crosby and Erik Karlsson, their values were at the lowest, and Darnell Nurse's value was at the highest. This is a very bad trade by the looks of it. I am basically going to be grading myself at the same time on how these mock trades aged. And then I'm going to be saying, like, nowadays, who would want this trade, who wouldn't want this trade. So I have a feeling a lot of these trades are going to be very one-sided. However, let's start it off with, I mean, Sidney Crosby, Erik Karlsson going to the Edmonton Oilers to Sorry, this is not part of the video, but Joey Daccord, get the frick out of here, bro. Joey Daccord, get out of here. I am not dealing with this today. I'm not dealing with this. I'm putting Philip Grubauer in. There is no way this is what this thing is going to be like, bro. There's no way I'm going to get cooked by the Buffalo Sabres on this episode. Okay, so the return is Darnell Nurse, Matt Savoy, Bo Akey, a 27 first, a 28 second, a 29 first. Oh, this did not age well on my behalf for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Why would you do that? I don't know. But Sidney Crosby, this was right before the Rantanen to what was it? This was right before Rantanen went to Dallas. This is based off the Carolina trade. And I thought, like, they're old players, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. But now they are so much more valuable now. And I mean, Mikko got 2 firsts. Sid can easily get 2 firsts and a young prospect by himself. Like Savoy and 2 firsts. I feel like the Oilers would do that for Sidney Crosby. And it's like Darnell Nurse, Bo Akey, and a second for Erik Karlsson. Darnell Nurse is a negative of negatives. And yeah, that is a bad trade for me. For the Penguins, this would be an A+. I mean, for the Oilers, this would be an A+. For the Penguins, this would be an F. And for me, this is a D trade. This aged horribly. Next up, we have Alexander Ovechkin traded. I thought this would be hilarious. I thought I was a genius. Going to the Philadelphia Flyers for... And I mean, he would be on Crosby's biggest rival team. And the package would be Owen Tippett, so goal scorer, Oliver Bonk, best defensive prospect, who's not in the NHL. And then obviously a first round pick in 2025, which turned out to be the 6th overall pick. This is when the Philadelphia Flyers were almost, streaking. Thought Matt Michkov would be a great, next to Ovechkin, and I don't know. This one didn't age that well as well. Would you do the 6th overall pick for Ovechkin if you detach what he means to the city of Washington? 6th overall pick, Tippett and Bonk. Honestly, it's not the worst of trades, but after the season that Washington had, there is no way you would do this. Now, obviously, they wouldn't trade Ovechkin regardless, but I mean, I was making trades, and this one didn't age too great in my opinion either. I think if I had to give this a grade, I think for the Capitals, this would be, this would be a solid C. You're getting a good package for Ovechkin. It's basically Desnoyers or whoever you want, Tippett, Bonk. It's not a bad trade. And then for the Flyers, this is like a C again. Like Michkov and Ovechkin would feed families at the same time. That would hurt your rebuild timeline. That wouldn't be the greatest, option. Ovechkin, how many years does he have left in the NHL? That 6th overall pick could be so useful. So I'm going to say that this one aged horribly for both sides, but it wasn't as bad as the Crosby trade. So I'm going to give it a C for the Capitals if they did this, and a C for the Flyers. So now I remember correctly, I was trolling on a lot of these. I was putting players on teams that they would definitely never go to, but this one involves Nikita Kucherov. Now, Nikita Kucherov obviously just won, the Ted Lindsay, the Art Ross, all of that stuff. So, we'll see. I've heard rumors that Kucherov, in the worst case scenario, could be traded or let go. So we'll see. But him, along with Ryan McDonagh, are going to the Montreal Canadiens, and now here is where the packages get crazy. You're giving up Uri Slafkovsky, Kirby Dach, David Reinbacher, Michael Hage, Caden Gooley, and the 16th overall pick, or what turned out to be the 16th overall pick. Now, let's start off for the Montreal Canadiens. You're getting Nikita Kucherov to play with Ivan Demidov, to, the guy who beat you in the finals. And I will say, youth is very overrated in the NHL. A lot of teams will value a 21-year-old with no future over like a 33-year-old who's like gonna be 10 times better than they will ever be, the 21-year-old. But at the same time saying this did not age well for the Montreal Canadiens. They were out of a playoff spot at the time. They went on a heater to end the year. And honestly, in terms of what they gave up, Kirby Dach, I think they'd be willing to give him up, obviously. Same with Reinbacher. He hasn't, proven anything. Michael Hage, I think they'd definitely also be willing to give up, even though he had a great season at Michigan. And I don't know, man. Taking on Ryan McDonagh's contract's not something they would want to. Oh wait, we're talking about the Canadiens right now. Yeah, taking on Ryan McDonagh's contract, maybe not something they'd want to do. Nikita Kucherov, do they need him? Probably not. Uri Slafkovsky would take something out that they don't really have a lot of, and Uri Slafkovsky's their only like power forward who can skate, like a big body who can skate. Line can't skate. And then for the Tampa Bay Lightning, honestly, other than what Kucherov meant to the city, this is an A-. Like, this is a great trade for them. You get Uri Slafkovsky and Caden Gooley. And then, Reinbacher, Dach, Hage, if one of them hit, that is an insane three-headed core for Kucherov. You get a great draft pick, which could be, you've done a great job drafting, so you could get, you could take a swing, right? You could get pretty much anybody you want. But, yeah, man, I don't know what to do, but If I was the Montreal Canadiens, I am not accepting this trade. This did not age well for them. I'm going to go with, a C+. You got Nikita Kucherov. Obviously would help you so much, but you already have Ivan Demidov. You already have Nick Suzuki. You already have Lane Hudson, who are going to need the puck a lot. Is there enough hockey puck for another guy like that? I don't know. Especially when you're on a power play and stuff, you need a guy who can shoot. You need multiple guys who can shoot. That's what made Tampa so successful. They had Braden Point, Steven Stamkos, guys who could play off the puck and be super effective. So I'm gonna say C+ for Montreal, A- for Tampa. Next up, we have Kirill Kaprizov, and Kirill in this case is going to the Chicago Blackhawks. So the trade is Kirill Kaprizov and Ryan Hartman to the Chicago Blackhawks for Oliver Moore. Wait, let me move my thing so I can see while playing the game. Hold up one second, my bad, boys. But Oliver Moore, you know, Frank Nazar, Kevin Korchinski, Philip Kurashev, 2025 first, which turned out to be the third overall pick, and the 2027 first. Start off with the Minnesota Wild. They're getting back, some great B-level prospects, but no A-level prospect for Kirill Kaprizov. And they are getting rid of the Ryan Hartman contract. Kaprizov is a free agent in 2026. They are getting the third overall pick. Holy voice crack. I am saying B for the Minnesota Wild. A B trade. It's good. It's not great. And you get a lot, but how much of it is, you get one A-level thing, which could be, Hagens, Martone, whoever you choose, for Kaprizov with a bunch of surrounding pieces, which they don't really have the superstars, but they also don't really have the surrounding pieces, to be fair. I'd like this trade for them if Kaprizov said, I'm only going to the Chicago Blackhawks. You don't take on any of the bad contracts and stuff, so that's good. Oh my goodness, what a save. But for the Minnesota Wild, I'm going to go with a B. For the Chicago Blackhawks, you get Kirill Kaprizov to play with Connor Bedard. Will that work? I don't know. Kaprizov seems like a guy who could really play with anybody, make anybody better, but two, excellent shooters is not a bad problem to have. It's just both these guys are very well dual threats where they can pass and score, but it's not like a 1-1 where it's like Backstrom and Ovechkin or something like that, where they both have their skill that they're nasty at, like Taves, Kane kind of thing. It's kind of clashing skills. Kaprizov's obviously a way better skater, so that could really help Bedard maybe, his skating. But I'm gonna go with a solid, A- for the Chicago Blackhawks. Third overall pick for Kaprizov. You'd do it any day, but at the same time, you have patience. Now, this is already a long ass video, but I think, we're going to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure you stay tuned because some of these trades get crazier and crazier. Next up, we have David Pastrnak. David Pastrnak going to the Vegas Golden Knights. This would be very entertaining. Pasta, one of the biggest personalities in one of the flashiest markets. And what Boston is giving up is David Pastrnak, Elias Lindholm, Andrew Peeke, Jonas Korpisalo, and they are getting Trevor Connolly, Pavel Dorofeyev, Zach Whitecloud, Thomas Hertl, William Karlsson, 27, 28, 29 first. And I think that's a haul for David Pastrnak. You're also giving up a lot of your bad contracts. Okay, let's start with the Boston Bruins. I'm going to go with a solid A- actually. Dorofeyev, would he be good on another team? I don't know. You get 3 first-round picks. Pavel Dorofeyev. You get William Karlsson. This allows you to still, be in the fight while giving up your best player. Trevor Connolly is a pretty good prospect. 3 first-round picks from Vegas who don't really have that kind of, young core. So, maybe it becomes something, especially that 2029 first is very risky to give up. For the Boston Bruins, I'm going to say A minus. It's a pretty good return, all things considered. To get a player like Dorofeyev, to get 2 players like Hurdle and Carlson, to get a prospect like Connolly, and then 3 firsts, and I mean Zach Whitecloud as well to replace Andrew Peak. That's pretty nasty. And then for the Vegas Golden Knights, I'm going to go with A+. Not because the package is great for them, but because they don't care about picks and prospect. They don't care about loyalty. And, I mean, David Pastrnak, the amount of business that he would give the Vegas Golden Knights, that he would give the club, hopefully he's not married, but the clubs in Vegas, the amount of ladies that would offer themselves up for David Pastrnak to sign an 8-year contract when his contract is up is absolutely insane. So, I think this is a good trade for both sides. I think this is the first trade that has aged well for both sides. Next up, we have Leon Draisaitl going to the LA Kings. This is a funny one. Leon Draisaitl is headed to the LA Kings in this trade, along with Darnell Nurse and Stuart Skinner for Quinton Byfield, Kevin Fiala, Alex Laferriere, Mikey Anderson, Brant Clark, Darcy Kemper, a 2025 first round pick, and a 2027 pick swap. So, let's start off. The Edmonton Oilers, the team giving up Leon Draisaitl. This is interesting. You get a lot more depth. You get a whole line. 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, a goaltender. I think that's the biggest thing. Edmonton gets a goalie. So I'm going to go beat... Serious? That's the 3rd freaking time that's happened today. That is actually going to piss me off. But Leon Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse, Stuart Skinner. You get rid of the Nurse contract. You get rid of Skinner. You upgrade to Kemper. You switch Nurse for Anderson and get Brant Clark, who, it's something. At least for Edmonton, they don't really need that because they have Evan Bouchard, and then, I mean, you could relay Clark to a 3rd team. And then you get a guy like Quinton Byfield, Kevin Fiala, Alex Laferriere, 3 guys who would definitely play on your top 6. That could literally be your whole second line, and you'd be chilling. So I'm going to go with a B+ for the Oilers. It's a pretty good haul. Maybe not a B+, maybe a B-. And then for, who's the other team? The LA Kings. This is an A+. Leon Draisaitl has literally ended your hopes and dreams so many times, it's not even funny. That, like, come on, man. If you get the opportunity to trade for Leon Draisaitl, you give up everything. Because, you take that chance that Leon Draisaitl is going to do the same thing to the Oilers that he did to you. So it's an A+ for the Kings and a B- for the Oilers. Next up, we have Austin Matthews going to the Utah Hockey Club. I mean, this one was pretty obvious, but this is a big one. Austin Matthews and Morgan Riley to the Utah Hockey Club. I'm not going over this. I'm just reading it out and then going over it. Because, honestly, I haven't seen a lot of these trades in about 3 to 4 months. I think it's, like, almost 4 months at this point. And I mean, some of these have aged horribly, I'm sure, but it's not awful right now. It should be a lot better though. And the return is Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther, Sean Durzi, Matthias Michelli, TJ Ginla, and a 2029 first. Now for the Toronto Maple Leafs, the team giving up Austin Matthews. This is honestly an A. This is a absolute haul for Austin Matthews and Morgan Riley. And, I mean, obviously, I forgot to mention, you're retaining 50% on Riley. To get Morgan Riley for $4 million is an absolute steal. To replace him with Sean Durzi, who you literally had before, for $6 million is kind of an L, but, it's okay. And, I mean, Sean Durzi, is he better than Morgan Riley? Who knows? Morgan Riley plays in one of the toughest markets to play in. It's tough to say. And then but like the thing is, you're getting Michelli, Aginla, Gunther, and Logan Cooley. Like, Cooley and Gunther could be first liners in the league. Tej and Michelli could be second liners in the league. You have enough money to sign Mitch, which even if you don't, you have Willie, you have JT, so that's a top six right there. And I mean, you have a ton of cap space to get some depth for your team. Is it perfect? No. I'm gonna go with an A minus though. I think Logan Cooley is the exact player you would want in a trade like that. And then for Utah, I'm gonna go with an A as well. I think it's good. I don't think it's an A plus though because you're giving up Cooley, Gunther. Maybe you don't care about them because you only apparently want big players, but yeah, I think it's just like you're giving up a lot for Austin Matthews, Morgan Riley, who, if they hit, can win you a championship. If they miss, you have given up your entire future for a guy who could leave in 3 years. So I'm gonna go A and A minus on that one. Okay, next up is Cale Makar going to the Edmonton Oilers. It's kind of a random one. I don't know why I had Makar going to the Oilers. I honestly can't remember the thought process. Oh my goodness, what a reverse. But it's Cale Makar, Gabriel Landeskog, because we thought he wasn't going to play hockey ever, but he was still making 5.75, when he did return. And then, what is it? Casey Mittelstadt, who was still on the team at the time. So we're going to take Casey out. So it's basically Landeskog and Makar to the Edmonton Oilers for Evan Bouchard, Nuge, Hyman, Akey, Savoy, and I have 4 first-round picks written down for Cale Makar and Gabriel Landeskog. That's a lot. That is a big L on my part for the Colorado Avalanche. This isn't. You're getting Evan Bouchard, who's not going to replace Cale Makar, but he's probably the closest right shot, other than like Adam Fox or something like that, who you can get to kind of fill that void. And then, you're getting Nuge, you're getting Hyman, who can definitely be your first line with McKinnon. Then you have Natchez down at the second line. So that's pretty good. And then you get Akey and Savoy who can flip. You get 4 first-round picks. For Colorado, I'm going to go with an A minus. Cale Makar is probably worth all of this, but I don't know. And then for the Oilers, I'm going to go with like a D, bro. Cale Makar is probably worth all of this, but you already have Evan Bouchard. Like any other team, if they had to give this much up, this would be an A plus no matter what, because Cale Makar would transform your entire team. But you have Evan Bouchard. Obviously Cale Makar is better. I don't know how much offensively Cale Makar is going to add. Maybe defensively, he's just going to be that much of a beast that he just turns into the greatest player. He just wins them a cup. But you're giving up 4 first-round picks. You're only 2 good prospects. You're giving up your 2 line mates of McDavid. You're giving up Evan Bouchard, the guy who literally is one of the greatest playoff defenseman scorers of all time. This one aged terribly. We got Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog to the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for Jake Gensel, Anthony Cirelli, Braden Hagel, JJ Moser, Connor Geeky, Isaac Howard, 26, 27, 28. For the Colorado Avalanche, you're getting Jake Gensel, 9x7. You're getting Cirelli, you're getting Hagel, you're getting Moser, who's this was before they had Ryan Lindgren. You're getting Connor Geeky, you're getting Isaac Howard, so you get a lot of forward depth for cheaper than they probably should be paid. And I'm gonna go with a solid B. I'm gonna go with a C plus. I think this is an alright deal. Like if you did this, you'd think, okay, Colorado's depth is absolutely insane. They have the best depth in the league. But now, with the fact that they traded Rantanen, And the fact that if they do this trade, they trade McKinnon, and now your best player is Marty Necas on the forward core. Maybe I think they're it's not the worst situation, so that's why I'm going C plus. And then for the Tampa Bay Lightning, another no state tax team. I mean, when you have Gary Bettman, as long as Gary Bettman is in the league, you go for these big time players because you know it's rigged for you anyways. You have a chance to win. You are one of the few teams that has a chance to win the cup while Gary Bettman is still here. So you got to go for it. I think this is an nah, it can't be an A minus for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They give up all their depth, but they get Nathan McKinnon, Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov on the same power play with Victor Edmond. That is absurd. In last trade, we have Connor Bedard and Seth Jones going to the Vancouver Canucks. In exchange, oh wait, Seth Jones isn't even there anymore. I just realized that. That is crazy. That's how long ago this was. But basically, Connor Bedard goes home to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for Brock Besser, Philip Hronek, Jonathan Lekermacki, Tom Willander, Artur Silovs, 25, 26, 27, 28. Now, this was before the Vancouver Canucks were eliminated from the playoffs. Holy voice crack. This is before, we knew they were going to sell everybody. That's why there's no Quinn Hughes trade. Although there was a Quinn Hughes trade when I made this, in our previous podcast on our main channel. So, go check that out. I think it's called 18 Absurd Trades. But yeah, Connor Bedard to the Vancouver Canucks. Let's talk about the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, I don't think I can't unlock my laptop. That's crazy. But Connor Bedard, I think this is an L for the Blackhawks. This is not an F because you get 4 first-round picks. You get Lekermacki, Willander, Besser. You get Hronek. This is not an F, but it's like a D. It's not great. It's probably the worst return so far. That 12th overall pick is nice. Vancouver with Bedard would probably suck as well. It's not bad. It's not great. It is a D in my opinion. And then for the Vancouver Canucks, this is an A++. This is the first A+ of the day. This is, if the Vancouver Canucks somehow manage to get Connor Bedard, it would be crazy in Vancouver. Everybody would be packing the house. Yeah, I think this is A+ for the Canucks. A D minus for the Blackhawks, not an F. And then the last trade we have here is Connor McDavid, Calvin Pickard, Darnell Nurse to the Toronto Maple Leafs for William Nylander, Matthew Knies, Easton Cowan, Morgan Riley, Topi Niemela, Joseph Wall, and every first-round pick from 2027 all the way to 2032. That is absolutely diabolical. How I thought of that trade? First of all, what is that? 6 first-round picks. 6 first-round picks is absolutely insane. You have Joseph Wall, who's going to fix your goaltending. This is from the Oilers' perspective. You have Morgan Riley, who's another puck mover. You get William Nylander. Him and Draisaitl would work perfectly together. You get Easton Cowan, a top prospect who's going to make the jump next year, who could be like a second liner in the NHL. And then, from there, it's weird. You get Topi Niemela, you get Matthew Knies, who, people are going to call a playoff-style player, so that could work for your team. This is like a C. It's not C. Trading McDavid on the last year for 6 first-round picks, Nylander, Knies, Morgan Riley, Joseph Wall, Cowan, Niemela, that's a pretty good package for a 1 year left Connor McDavid. The only problem is it's Connor McDavid, and if you're not getting like Nathan McKinnon plus like 3 firsts, 2 firsts, I don't know if it's worth it. But, you know, if you don't get Cale Makar and 2 firsts, Connor McDavid's kind of in a league of his own for value. Even if he's on the last year of his deal, teams will literally pay their whole team to get a guy like Connor McDavid. So, yeah, it's tough. I'm going to say this was a C for the Oilers and then for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Honestly, I don't know how much better this makes them. You know, Nylander, I mean, obviously McDavid's better than Nylander. McDavid, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and, I don't know, Darnell Nurse on a power play. That's pretty good. The only problem is, I don't know how good this makes them. I'm going to go with like a B for the Maple Leafs. That is crazy. I just rated a Connor McDavid trade a B. You get Connor McDavid, the hometown kid, but you give up literally all of your depth, all of your draft picks, and you become even more top heavy than you already are. The Leafs are one of the few teams in the league where adding Connor McDavid would make them not like 100, like it would make them 50 times better instead of 100. But yeah, those are all the trades. Those are all the news. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And I'll see you guys in the next video.